Welcome to Armchair Buffaloes, where we discuss all things Colorado football. Today's guest is Joey Johnson, who was a major contributor on our Big 12 championship team. Our defense that season ran what we called split hawk. It was a variation of the 4-3 with the Sam linebacker walked up on the tight end. The hawk linebacker was the weak side backer protected by the 3 tech so he could fly around and make plays. Jay-Sean Sykes opened the season on the Butkus Award watch list as our Hawk backer, but after the third game against San Jose State, he was sidelined with a herniated disc in his neck that required season-ending surgery. When Jay-Sean went down, Joey stepped up, and the position couldn't have been more fitting. He was an absolute ball hawk, sealing a win over Texas A&M with a scoop and score, then grabbing interceptions in both the 62-36 thumping of Nebraska and in the Big 12 championship win. Joey was an undersized linebacker ranging between 205 and 215 pounds, soaking wet, but he got it done with superior athleticism and great instincts. Thanks for joining us today, Joe. You had big shoes to fill on that 0-1 team. Can you talk about the conversation you had with Coach Cabral and what was going through your mind when you were thrust into that starting role?
Yeah. It was terrifying. I actually remember throwing up because it was in the hotel room in Manhattan, Kansas, about 12 hours before kickoff. And if you remember, I think their O-line averaged about 360 pounds. They had been averaging over 300 yards rushing per game. Had like a 280-pound fullback that was coming downhill at me. So, yeah, but that's what's nice when you have, two All-American defensive linemen in front of you and, Michael Lewis and just a defense that flew around. So, it made it easy on me, and that was a great win.
Yeah, well, you were moved to linebacker, and they moved me on to punt return. You know, that season, we also lost John Minardi, one of our team captains, to a broken ankle in that San Jose State game. Not long after, our starting quarterback, Craig Oakes, went down. Actually, I think Minardi's was actually a knee, but Craig Oakes went down, paving the way for Bobby to step in at quarterback, and he never looked back on that job. And what made that 2001 championship run so remarkable was the way guys stepped up when we were plagued by the injury bug. When John went down, Derek McCoy seized the opportunity and rose to the occasion. And like I said, when Joey moved to linebacker, I came on to the punt return team and was blocking for Roman Hollowell on what became the number one punt return unit in the country that season. I bring all this up in comparison because based on what I've seen from this Colorado team so far, we struggle against physical offenses. I get that the NFL mentality is to keep guys healthy and trust that your players already know how to block and tackle. But these kids aren't in the NFL, and we talked about it with Shiv, Bob. If you want to be physical, you got to practice physicality, and I don't believe that happens at CU's practices, and I think one of the biggest reasons why is depth. We've got a million receivers and plenty of guys in the secondary, but we're not deep in the trenches. We're not deep at linebacker. We've got one tight end that plays, and let's be real. Prime isn't the one making the house calls on recruiting visit. That falls on the recruiting coordinator and his staff. And I know at least 2 CU legacies in Joshua Bates, who's the starting center at SMU, and Marco Jones, who we talked about last week at Texas A&M, who'd be contributing on this team if they were in Boulder. We need to do a better job recruiting big guys, and I think we need to refocus our efforts in California and Colorado. Right now, our recruiting footprint has a, we're going head to head with SEC schools that are more familiar to these kids, that have a lot more money to throw around than we do. And in 3 games this year against Power 4 opponents, we're giving up 737 yards on the ground. Comparatively, we've only rushed for 414 yards ourselves in those same games, which, to be honest, is still a lot better than in previous years. And I thought we had something going against BYU there for a minute. Buffs racked up 99 yards rushing in the first quarter and looked like an entirely different offense. Thoughts on the game, Bob?
Yeah, sure. We had a great first quarter. Awesome. But guess what? There's 3 more left, and we didn't have 4 good quarters. And so I struggle. I mean, I thought the way we called the game on offense in the first quarter was great, right? Put Miller in the Wildcat, let him run the ball out of there, and we didn't see it again. Like, there's things when there's success and it doesn't get repeated, I don't understand. I looked late in the game. I mean, let's backtrack to what you said about being physical. We're not. BYU is. They hit us in the mouth, and you guys know more than anything, when you get hit in the mouth over and over and over and over again, sooner or later you're gonna lay down. And BYU, that's what happened. But we were still in the game at the end. But a few things that I struggle with is more from the top down. With about 6.5 minutes left, we were on like our own, what was it, 40-yard line? And we take a timeout. It's like 4th and 6. And we take a timeout just to walk back out and punt the ball. Like, what the hell are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
we're not gonna slow those guys down. That part I struggled with, right? And then fast forward till we got the ball back. We have 2 timeouts left right before Salter makes a really bad decision and throws a pick. But there's another opportunity. Take a timeout, settle down, have a conversation, think about what you want to do, and have a plan. I feel like that never happens. And then put all that together to the post-game conference. And what did Prime say? I don't know if either of you guys heard this, but he looked dead in the camera and said, our guys, that moment might have been too big for our guys. Whose fault is that? Right? I mean, you prepare your guys for moments like that. That's your job. That's your staff's job, to put them in a situation where that moment isn't too big. And if we're spending millions of dollars and transfer portal stuff on guys that can't handle playing BYU on a September night in Boulder, Colorado, give me a break, man. Like, they don't know what a big moment is. They have no idea what a big moment is. So I think collectively there's just, and it goes back to what Coach Barnett said the first show we had this year, Beau. There's no identity, man. There's zero identity. We had an identity for 15 minutes in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And then it didn't come back. I don't know why. I don't know what we did with it. But so there's a level of frustration coming out of that game for as well as we played in the first quarter, to give that thing up, and just some things that transpired that it just don't sit well with me.
Joe?
Yeah. Yeah, I loved watching GB on the first show and him talk about physicality and how you build a team and a culture from the inside out. You cannot build it with speed guys all over the place, right? Maybe you can. They haven't shown to be able to do that. You have to be physical. You have to be able to run the ball and stop the run, period, if you want to build a lasting football team at a university, right? That's building blocks 101. Um, I think the shine of the Hall of Famers coming into coach is also wearing thin on me. I'm ready to see some heads roll, or like you're getting talent in there that maybe you can't develop, right? And there's a big difference between guys being in the Hall of Fame and being able to squeeze the most out of kids that they recruit, or taking someone who may not have all the athletic skills blessed and run a 4.2 and bench all the weights in the weight room, but fight for four quarters. And what I am really scared that we're not going to see anymore uh, is kind of how our 2001 team developed, right? The next man up, where it was a culmination of 3 or 4 summers together, working out with the same guys, the same leaders, holding people accountable. And now you just have guys transferring in for one season. If their NIL doesn't increase, or it doesn't go the way they want them to, try to transfer out, and now you're not building those teams. So, offense is tough to watch. It was nice to see something creative there. I'm getting so tired of the same old pro style, no creativity. But I was proud of them, and they fought hard and were in it for 3.5 quarters. But yeah, man, I think there needs to be some coaching changes, but I was proud of them overall.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Bob, I was impressed with the first 2 drives. I thought that Shermer was creative. I love the Wildcat with Draylon Miller. And then it felt like he just resorted back to what we've seen from him over and over again over the course of the last 2 seasons. And let's be honest, like Salter is a completely different quarterback than Shador. When Salter's playing north and south, he's great. I like him in the zone read. I like him in the RPO. And if his progression is 1-2 check down, get north and south with his legs, and if he gets to that progression quickly, I think he's dangerous. But I don't think he sees downfield very well when he's scrambling outside the pocket, which is something that Shador was great at. I mean, let's be honest. Our offensive production was a scramble drill for the last 3 seasons. And if you look at that last pass, and obviously a loss is never comes down to one play. It never falls on one play, but Amarion Miller was wide open for the first down on that crossing route, and he got to him late. And like I said last week on the touchdown to Sincere Brown, you can get away with that throw against lesser talent, but BYU made him pay, jumping that late throw to end the game with interception. And I know this probably won't be a very popular opinion, but I like the idea of using Staub in the 2-minute drill. I think he processes a little quicker. I think he throws it a little better. And I think he's a better 2-minute quarterback, in my opinion. That said, I don't understand. I do understand, trying to establish a leader at the quarterback position. So I'm not sure if that's something that they'll experiment with, but 2-minute drill, I think you hand the keys over to Schaub. Overall, it was a much better performance, and we have seen improvement for this team. If we can eliminate the negative plays, like watching us take 15-yard sacks and put ourselves at 2nd and 25 situations, it's just tough for any offense to overcome. And if we can eliminate those mistakes, and if Shermer can change his play calling philosophy, like you said, Bobby, he did some really good things in the first quarter, then I think we've got a chance to be a good offense. But when it comes to stopping the run, especially mobile quarterbacks, we've got a long way to go. This weekend, we've got another tough challenge against a really good TCU game where Vegas is gifting us 13.5 points before this thing even kicks off. I've had a chance to watch these guys twice now against North Carolina and against Arizona State last week. Their quarterback is really good. They've got weapons at wide receiver, and they've got a very mature defensive unit. That said, I do think that this team plays a little bit more into the kind of style of game that we would like to play, Bob. We got tons of receivers. We got tons of DBs. I think we've got a pretty damn good 7-on-7 team. And if we get into that kind of a shootout, maybe we've got a chance. Bob, thoughts on this matchup?
Well, I don't agree with you. I think the kid pulling the trigger at TCU is one of the best in the country. Hoover, he's a stud, man. He makes good decisions. He can make every throw. He's got guys on the outside. TCU's big and physical. There's not going to be anything easy about this. Now, will I be surprised if we go down there and all of a sudden figure out how to do shit? No. But looking at this as not a CU guy, like just eyes that don't bleed black and gold, I think this is a very tough challenge. Number one, we don't go on the road well. We don't travel well. We don't play well on the road. We just don't. Especially now we're going to play a really good team. We went to a really bad Houston team and got our asses kicked. Now we're going to Fort Worth against a really good football team with a really good guy pulling the trigger. So we got to find a way to keep their offense off the field. I don't know if we're capable of that, but that's where my football brain goes, right? We got to keep Hoover off the field somehow. And whether that's putting Miller back in that wildcat and letting him run the ball and try to eat up clock, let's do that. Now, if we're going to try to bring heat, like we had a couple PIs this week where our DBs, right, they're on an island, not getting their head around, they're getting flags thrown on them. I could see that happening again on Saturday against the guys that TCU has. So I think it's a really big challenge. This is the best team. Well, I don't know. Georgia Tech has turned out to be pretty damn good. We thought they were, but this is a different team than Georgia Tech. I think they're pretty good. So it's going to be a challenge. We're going to have to play lights out better than we have against at any moment so far this season.
Joe?
Yeah, I know what does travel well is running the ball and stopping the run. Uh, so I think I'm with you, Beau, that
You got another
keeping
group of guys that are heading down there.
no keeping hey keeping Hoover keeping Hoover off the field might just be like 30-second touchdown drives, and then we just got to figure out a way to score with them. Which, yeah, man, get creative. Let's do some. Let's do that old Nebraska triple option where Salter can step and drop back and chuck it down the field at any time. Let's do something. What's the story, Bobby? I know you're close to the program, man. On the freshman Julian Lewis, just not ready. No value in throwing him in and getting some reps where maybe as a sophomore he's got some game time experience that he can pull from, and just not ready.
I don't know if it's that he's not ready, right? I mean, let's remember that he reclassified. He should be a senior in high school this year. But he did that deal where you can leave early now. So he's a young kid. I thought he looked fine when he got in against Delaware. I mean, but again, that was Delaware. So let's, pump the brakes on that. I think it's more of a, and I don't know how much good it would do to put him in right now. I mean, it's not like he's just standing back there with a clean pocket, just reading defenses, right? I mean, Salter's kind of moving around and having to make plays with his feet when we're successful on offense. But everything I've seen, I mean, he's a hell of a player. I mean, maybe it's a maturity thing. Maybe it's you don't want to waste this kid right now when maybe you don't have the guys up front. I don't know. I mean, it's a good question, Joey. I think there comes a time, right? If you're 2-4, you're 2-5, put the kid in the game. Let's see what you
Well,
got, right?
let's look at it this way. It's, if we can't find a way to win this game, we're 0-4 against Power 4 teams, and the Boo Birds in Boulder are going to get a lot louder. I think that's when you make a decision. Okay, we got Arizona State still. We got Arizona. We got some good teams left on this schedule. Iowa State,
Utah.
I think that's when you start building for the future. If we can't find a way to get this game done, the Boo Birds are going to be loud, and it's JuJu time, in my opinion.
I honestly, the Wyoming game after the stop kind of experiment didn't go well. I thought they just should have given it to him. Just go play, be the guy for the rest of the year, right? Who cares if
I
Salter does
did
it?
too. I did too, Bobo. Just because my own experience playing as a true freshman halfway through the season, yeah, I didn't like it. Now I want to keep my red shirt and but when I went in my second year, I felt way more comfortable with everything, with the traveling, just everything. It paid dividends for sure. So, and I'm hoping he's the future and the one. So, they're smarter guys than me, and maybe they know what they're doing. Or like Bo said, maybe it's not all lost yet. Still make a run at this Big 12 title.
Yeah, I think if you're going to be a 4, 5, 6 win team, which is very possible, what we're looking at right now, be a 4 and 5 win team with the kid you're paying $1 million to, that
Yeah,
was one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Let him figure it out.
yeah,
Unless we can see, unless Shermer can say, okay, let's look at what we did on our 3 touchdown drives with Salter. Let's cater to this kid's strengths, because let's be honest, at times he looks dangerous, guys. Like, he looks like he's poised, he knows what he's doing, and they're putting him in positions to succeed. And maybe it's not Salter. Maybe it's Leftwich. Maybe it's, let's change the guy that's calling the plays and cater to this kid's strengths rather than trying to put him into Shador's shoes. He's not Shador. We've got running backs. We've got a quarterback that can use his legs, and we did it successfully 3 drives in the game. Now, when he gets behind the sticks and he's got to throw the ball, we're in trouble. That especially against teams that have a good back end and can rush the quarterback. So
think about this, fellas. Against the two best opponents we played so far, Georgia Tech and BYU, right? You'd probably agree with me on that.
Yeah.
Those are the two best opponents we played. BYU were up 14-0. Okay, gave that game away. Georgia Tech, 3 turnovers in the first quarter, only scored 7 points, gave that game away. Now and I don't know what the answer is, but there's a fine line of where does the confidence need to come from? That when these kids taste that, oh God, we're up 14-0, or we have 3 turnovers, we should have 21 points in the first quarter. There's something there that's missing, right? Either it's not coach led, or it's not senior led, it's not player led, right? Where we're not going to let this happen again. And I'm not saying I know what I know what the answer is, but
well,
I'm not going to say it out loud right now.
When you can't stop the run, you have no ability to control the momentum of the game. So either you need to control the ball with your running game and keep the other offense off the field and give your defense a rest, or you just gotta you gotta recruit better guys on that side of the football.
I mean, for me, it was in 2000 going 3-8 and losing a bunch of really close games in the last quarter, in the last couple drives, where you had seniors that were just sick of that. They didn't ever want to have that feeling in their mouth again, and they were going to do everything they can to make sure it didn't happen. And that was elevate themselves and the other guys around them. So, it's hard to have. Go ahead.
And that could be a problem with the portal too, right? You don't have
Yeah.
guys that have experienced all the bad things. They're just
Yeah,
walking in.
You had 20 plus guys on that 01 team that were seniors that had lost to Nebraska on last second plays for 3 years in a row that just made a decision. And how do you get to that kind of team chemistry with the transfer portal? Because we're not we're nowhere close to that right now.
No.
Yeah, I think it's over, because you can go try to transfer to Southwest Texas State, and go be a hero. And
are you saying are you letting the Buff Nation know that's something that you almost pulled the trigger on, Johnson?
Yeah, I tried. I thank God Coach Barnett didn't let me. So I'd probably still be in San Marcos drinking beer somewhere.
You'd be bartending in South Padre.
Yeah, dude, with the new, a new F-150 XLT, dude, all I would have taken.
All right, guys. Anything else before we sign off?
Man, I'm not trying to be a downer, but there's good things there, but somehow they just got to just keep capitalizing on it and not just have success and then put it away.
We got to find ways to win.
Well.
Got to find ways to win those games.
Let's finish.
Exactly.
Finish in the fourth.
All right, guys, that's all the time we have for you today. A big thank you to Joey for joining us. If you enjoyed the show, give this video a like and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future episodes. Go Buffs.
Go Buffs. Good to see you, boys.